Hello and welcome to another episode of Changes Within Us podcast. Woohoo! Today I will be reading and reacting to two stories about who really warned the British were coming. So without further ado, the first article is Did Paul Revere Really Yell the British Are Coming? By Lori L. Dove, updated April 6, 2021. So let's get started. Did Paul Revere really yell the British are coming? The British are coming, the British are coming. If not for the shouts of Paul Revere coming from atop a galloping horse, tearing through the streets of Concord, Massachusetts, unexpecting colonists may never have been warned of the British Army's impending attack. Thanks to Revere's courageous midnight ride from Lexington to Concord in April 1775, he thwarted a certain thrashing of colonial forces and became a pivotal figure in the American Revolution. A retelling of his hair-raising journey in not Lexington, in Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's poem, The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere, cemented his place in history. It's a tale most Americans know, except we don't, because Paul Revere, his ride never actually happened, at least not the way we think it did. Paul Revere didn't ride through the streets of Concord hollering, a warning. He didn't even make it to Concord at all. Paul Revere, an activist in the Patriot movement, rode that night with two other men, Samuel Prescott and William Dawes. Only one of them succeeded in reaching Concord to warn of the British invasion. After they left Lexington, Revere, Prescott, and Dawes were arrested and detained by British patrol. Prescott was the first to escape and set off for Concord, where he warned its residents to protect the ammunition and weapons stored in a hidden depot near the town. Dawes later escaped as well, although by some accounts he became lost in the dark and never made it to Concord. Revere was eventually set free, but without the horse he'd borrowed for the journey. Rather than setting off for Concord, he walked back to Lexington only to discover the city ensconced in the Battle on Lexington Green. He'd still been in captivity when the first shots were fired. Although he didn't yell the British are coming, Revere did manage to warn all of Lexington about the British invasion in the hours before he spurred a horse towards Concord. Now, you see, this is what's unjustifiable. We children, all of us, at one point or another, are forced to spend years learning this wrong information. As far as I know, it's still being taught to kids. We should honor Prescott because he was the one who actually warned Concord about the British invasion. The second article is Voices of Revolution, the Five Riders. Author unknown. Source constitutionfacts.com. So let's begin. Thanks to the epic poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, Paul Revere is more often credited as the sole rider who alerted the colonies that the British were coming. Yet, despite this tale, there were many riders who went out on the night of April 18th, and in years following, warning the colonists of the approach and movement of the British forces. 4 men and 1 woman made the late night rides, alerting the early Americans of what dangers lay ahead. They were Paul Revere, Samuel Prescott, Israel, I think, Bissell, William Dawes, and Sybil Ludington. Sorry if I said some of those names wrong. Paul Revere. Poets, historians, and school books have told the story of the legendary ride of Paul Revere for more than 2 centuries, which is the same thing, I think. The most popular retelling is the poem entitled Paul Revere's Ride by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. It begins, "Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere on the 18th of April in 1775. Hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year. Thanks to Longfellow, hardly a scholar or school child alive does not know the name of Paul Revere and why he was important. Although his role has been embellished, it was still a significant one. Paul Revere was born in Boston in 1734 to a French Huguenot, Huguenot, sorry, difficult word, father and a Bostonian mother. Started his young life training to be a silversmith. After the death of his father in 1754, Paul enlisted in the Provincial Army to fight in the French and Indian War for the simple fact that it was the best job around. When the war was over, he returned to Boston to take over his father's silversmith's business, only to fall into financial difficulties. During the Stamp Act of 1765, frustrated by this gave him cause to join the Sons of Liberty, a group of men initially responsible for organizing early revolution efforts and develop a close association with Joseph Warren. On the night of April 18, 1775, Joseph Warren sent Revere to send the signal to Charleston that the British troops were on the move. Revere rolled through northern Boston, through what is now Medford, Somerville, and Arlington, warning the American patriots about the enemy's movement. Contrary to popular beliefs, Paul Revere never shouted the phrase, "The British are coming," and instead rode swiftly and in secrecy northward. His journey ended in Lexington, where he met other Sons of Liberty, John Hancock and Samuel Adams. Afterwards, after meeting up with William Dawes and Samuel Prescott, the three men went their separate ways to improve their chances of escape from British officers stationed along the road. Revere would be captured by the British, but his comrades would be more successful in their journeys. See, this is another thing that I don't think people know. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure they do know, but nobody discusses it. That 90% of school is parents needing a babysitter so they can work. The other 10% is education. So they just put crap like this, that's not even true, together and called it education. Thank you to everyone who has listened, and I will be uploading another one every other day or so. I'm still getting my schedule finished setting it. So if you like it, please give it a rating and some feedback and a follow so you don't miss out. Again, thank you and have a nice day.